Welcome to Lost Relics, a blockchain game in which I have obtained around 3,400 Enjin token. And while that might not sound very relevant to you, each Enjin token is currently selling around $2.50 each. Now when you take into account people are making 1,000 or more Enjin token each week, it's something to notice. Now, I feel that I should say right off the bat, this is going to be less of a tutorial and more of a tips and tricks, this is what's going on. And by that I mean little things like this hidden path you may or may not have known existed, taking you from the adventure tunnel, or really the Emporium, all the way back to the tavern. You can cut right through this spot near the light pole, and it will pop you out right there. Now, it's not a huge thing, but it's something that's definitely interesting. Now, I promise in a couple minutes this is going to make more sense, but essentially what you're doing when you start this game is running Forgotten Chambers enough times to get the gold to get a pickaxe, to run Forgotten Chambers to get enough gold to get a weapon to run Arcane Pits and Ash Woods. Now, that might sound really confusing right now, but like I said, in just a second here, and you're going to take that second to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, that will all make a lot more sense. Alright, now anytime anyone asks me for help, the first thing I ask them is if they've taken care of their key binding. So the first thing we're going to do is hit escape and go to settings to open up this menu you see here, and we're going to go over to controls. Now from controls, we're looking at a few main things: primary ability and energy ability, aka left click, right click, strong attack, weak attack, however you would prefer to say it. Set these key bindings to something that will be comfortable for you, because no doubt clicking continuously, and you're going to click a lot, trust me, will get very old very fast. Another thing is this camera angle here, to always ensure you have the best angle possible on your enemies. That's going to help you out drastically. Set that to something that's comfortable for you. Okay, mess around in these key bindings, make sure you have it all optimized for how you like to rest your hand and how you like to play. Before you do anything else, I swear it's going to make your life a million times easier. Automatically be prompted to start less of a tutorial, more of a walk around and show you around town. So the first place they're going to take you is the market, or the Royal Emporium. So let's go ahead and head over to the Royal Emporium and give you a better idea of what that looks like and how it actually works. Alrighty, so welcome to the marketplace. You'll notice, Royal Emporium rather, I should say. You'll notice there's two different sections, virtual and blockchain. They're very self-explanatory. If you're in these listings, you're using gold coins, you're shopping for virtual items. If you're here, you are using Enjin token, and you are shopping for blockchain items. So most everything you're going to do is going to be up in this virtual category. If you buy something, you should know it will go to your stash and not your on-person immediate inventory. Okay, so if you buy something, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to pay this market price. Okay, but there are things like consumables. Say if I want amaranthine eel, I'm probably, when I go to buy it, I'm probably going to make my price per item 30 just to make sure I get filled, right? So that's something. Okay, so we have our listings where you can buy something. We have offers. This is going to be all of your open buy orders or sell orders. Okay, so if you have an open buy order or open sell order, it's going to be in one of these empty slots. Going to go down to history. This is just going to show you what you have purchased, and most recently, starting at top left, going to the right, and then going down bottom left to the right. Okay, so 1 through 4, 5 through 8, right? If you go to owned, this is going to pull up all of the virtual items that are in your stash. So if you're wanting to sell something from your stash, you'll have to come to the Emporium to do it. It'll show you all of your owned items in your stash that are virtual that you can list on the market. To do something, you would just click it, left click it, create buy order from here as well, or you can create sell order. Okay, you would then just choose the quantity you want to sell and how much you want to sell per item. Okay, so if I wanted to sell, say 5 of them, it would then show the total price. Okay, and then it would go into my open offers. Now blockchain's a little bit different. we're not currently able to transfer out of the game for blockchain. If you wanted to sell something, you would then basically use transfer tokens or transfer crystals, these guys right here, which you would buy on LostRelics.io/shop. You can buy these transfer crystals and then transfer them out of the game. But since we're not able to do that right now, I'm not going to be able to give the tutorial on that. I do believe it's going to be open again in a few weeks here to do that, to transfer out of the game. Now, when this is a thing, all you would have to do is basically go on LostRelics.io and go to your wallet on there, your blockchain wallet, click the item you want to transfer out, click transfer, and then it'll go to your actual Enjin wallet where you can then list it on the marketplace. And once that's open, I will update the tutorial. But that is basically the marketplace. So now we are going to go into an adventure, and then after that we'll talk a little bit about crafting, the skill book, and professions. Now, I do want to cover this really quick because I know I'm going to get the question, what do pets do? Well, really not that much. While they're amazing to have and watch them running around, cute little sidekicks, all they really do is they will go behind walls or around corners to break objects that contain gold, and they will collect it for you. So the first time you'll see this is really, I believe, arcane pits, and there will be little boxes or crates or even statues, some hiding behind the occasional firewall or the little flat fire on the ground. Your pet will just run in that room, and if there's gold to be had, they will break the object and collect it for you. Alrighty, so now that we are done at the Royal Emporium, let's go ahead and head back to the tavern and check out the stash. Now the stash is where you're going to be spending a lot of time. Alright, welcome to your stash. Now your stash is going to be honestly where you spend, I don't know, the majority of your time if you're not in an adventure. Probably 90% of your time if you're not in an adventure. And if you're not doing that, you're going to be out engineering, doing alchemy, but we will cover that in a second. This is just basic. What is your stash? Okay, your stash is going to be where everything you have that is not currently in your inventory is located. Even if you die in an adventure, okay, with a blockchain item, it's going to come right back to your stash. If you just buy an item off of Marketplace and transfer it into the game, it's going to come into your stash, not directly into your inventory. If you want to take anything out of your stash and put it in your inventory, just simply click it, and you will see a move to inventory option. If it is a tool or a weapon, you will see equip primary or equip secondary, which are going to be these, the first and second little circle down here, and you would have also been able to change them in the key bindings to anything you would like. I have mine set to Q to toggle between. Now if you're wanting to take something out that is stackable, say this right here, which has a stack of 2, I can choose to move 1 to inventory or all to inventory. Or if there's something that has even bigger stacks, I can choose 1, 5, or all to inventory. Okay, say I choose to put 5 in inventory. If I wanted to put them back, all I would have to do is right click and they are all back. Okay, if you have a bundle of something, you can right click and all of them will go into your stash. And if it's just 1, then of course you can right click and it will drop it back in. Left click, 1 to inventory. Now if I were to hit equip tool, it would then put it in this tool slot here. Okay, inversely having to, drag and drop like such. But taking stuff out and putting stuff in your stash is extremely easy. Now while we're here, we're also going to cover this. Right next to the stash is the adventure map. If you click the adventure map, it'll show you all of the adventures that are currently open. It will show you the ones that are under construction, but of course we can't go there yet. Now when looking at the adventure map, there's a few different things we're going to note here. The things with crowns are for the power pennant players only. and I believe it's about $12 a week to do the power pennant. So that is all the crown means. On the left side over here we'll see resources, which basically it shows you two things. It shows you what drops, so you can see ash woods is different from arcane pits, but it also shows you what tools you need to bring. Now in the case of arcane pits, these are all rocks and minerals, so we would only need to bring a mining pick. Now ash woods, we have fish, so we know we need like a fishing net or fishing pole. We have scavenging things here like berries. Okay, so we know we would need to bring a scavenging tool, and then of course lumber or wood, so we're going to need to bring a axe for that. So that's pretty much showing you just what you need. Down here on the bottom left it shows the difficulty of the different things. And you can see of course 4 swords is going to be more difficult than 2 swords, is going to be more difficult than 1 sword. Now on the bottom right here there's a common misconception that it's showing the rarity of items that can drop from a location. It's actually showing you the rarity limit of what you can take into an adventure. So in Forgotten Chambers you can only take up to green rarity items. In Arcane Pits you can take green or blue rarity items, and it goes all the way up to, you know, red transcendent items. Now this does not mean that an epic item cannot drop from the first dungeon, you know, Forgotten Chambers. Any rarity of item can drop from any adventure, any mob, or any chest. That's a very common misconception. So some people think in order to get a legendary, they need to be running at least Trail Woods, and that's just not true. You can get a legendary or transcendent, even anything, from the very first dungeon. Another common misconception is your level. Your character level does not matter. So if you hear someone saying you need to be at least level 8 to go into Arcane Pits and level 15 to go to Ashwoods, it does not matter. The only thing that matters, and I'll come back to the stash here, is the level of weapon you're using. So you have green weapons, you have blue weapons, purple weapons, you know, mythical weapons, all the way up to transcendent weapons, which unfortunately I have not gotten yet, but I'm sure through many hours of grinding, you know, I'll eventually get it. So the only thing that matters is the rarity of your weapon, and damage kind of goes as this. You have your base damage gray weapons, okay? Now from gray you go to green. Green is going to do twice as much damage as gray. From green you're going to go to blue. Blue is going to do twice as much damage as green. Purple is going to do twice as much damage as blue, so on and so forth. Legendary doubles what the epic does. Mythical does double the damage of legendary. Now the damage is a little bit different. Your melee weapons are going to generally do a little bit more damage than your ranged weapons, but your ranged weapon is probably going to be your primary for the source of kiting mobs or kiting your enemies, and we will get to that in just a minute when we actually dive into an adventure and talk about what all is going on in there. So that is a basic breakdown of your stash and items. The only other thing on items is if you hover over an item, you will see it say either uncommon virtual like this, so you know this is going to be a rare blockchain, so it'll show you the level. Basically uncommon is green, rare is blue, but it'll also show you a couple other things. It'll show you whether it is blockchain or whether it is virtual. Now virtual items, if you die, you will lose your virtual items that are in your inventory, okay? Not your stash. You can never lose what's in your stash. Blockchain items, however, you can take a blockchain item into an adventure, and if you die with it, it will just return directly to your stash, okay? You'll notice it says indestructible next to it. So that's one thing to note. Virtual items, if you die with them on you while you're in a dungeon, you'll lose them. Blockchain items, you will not. They will come back to your stash. The only time this is different is if you get a blockchain item that drops in an adventure. It does not bind to your stash until you exit the adventure that it dropped in. So if a blockchain item drops in an adventure and then you die, you will lose that blockchain item. You know, inversely to if you came in with it, it would just go back to your stash. So that is the only difference. Now the only other thing it shows on the items here is the price of the item. Okay, it shows the price of the item and it shows the supply. So this limited supply, this number will never ever go up. This is how many there are, period. So you know you have a 1 of, in this case, 4,304. If I were to click on this bow, this is 1 of 265. And if I click on, say, this outfit, it's 1 of 75, in which case I have 2 because 1's in game here, and I also have 1 in my Enjin wallet, right? Just an investment I made when Pandemic Pete first came out. Okay, now on the right side it'll tell you what type of item it is. Okay, this is an outfit, of course. This is a weapon, and this is a resource. Okay, then it'll tell you whether it sells for Enjin coin, which would be a blockchain item. Blockchain items sell for Enjin coin. Virtual items sell for gold coins. And this would be basically show you the current market price. So currently on the in-game Emporium, this sells for 228 gold. Inversely, on the marketplace on enjinx.io/marketplace, this sells for 59 Enjin coin. Okay, you can also sort by rarity as well, by name, by type, or by quantity. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and either hop into an adventure or go check out the market and learn how to buy or sell. So we will hop there right now. Alrighty, so now we're done looking at the stash. Let's go ahead and take a brief look at your skills or professions, and then we will get on our way to an adventure. Alright, so real quick we are going to talk about the skills or professions. Okay, so it's that little purple book on the top of your screen. Really quick, we're just going to go over what does all of this nonsense mean. So clearly on the left side you're going to see what profession you want to select to look at where you are on your progress. Now the main thing we want to cover is these levels. Now these levels over here means if you are using this profession inside of an adventure, this is what you can get. If you are just a level 1 and you are woodcutting, say in Ash Woods, you will get any of these 4 items. You will not, however, get anything above. Now at level 5, when you're level 5 woodcutting, you will then begin to receive common pine as well. Okay, on the right side you can see that it does require the battered hatchet. Okay, clearly you need the first rank hatchet to do any of this. Same with if you go to, say, mining, you would need the crude pickaxe or the first level mining. As you can see, I did not work on mining as much as woodcutting so far. Okay, now when you get down, you'll see that it says ability to wield, like here and here. Once you reach a certain level, so in this case level 10, and it is level 10 for mining, scavenging, and fishing as well, that you can use the next level of tool. Okay, it does something really nice for you. You'll go from getting anywhere between 50 to 80 experience in that profession to 2 to 300 once you get the upgrade. So really, level 1 to level 10 is the longest grind you're gonna have. I'd say, most likely hearing from people that have been playing for a while until you get to the 39 to 40 grinds. Okay, 1 to 10 is terrible. 9 to 10 in particular is terrible. So the levels on the left side here basically let you know what you can get or what you can use in certain instances at that profession level, and the right side basically shows you if there's any requirements. So once you get way down here, if you want to get gold oak, you must be using a demonic axe. So in this case you can see it costs 105,000 gold, but every gold oak costs about 350 Enjin token, which is a lot, right? It is a lot. So that is professions, and they're pretty easy to understand once you get them going. So I will see you guys at our next stop. Now, when you do go to buy a weapon, there's a couple differences that you need to be made aware of. Some cosmetic and some that actually make a difference. The Barbarian Blade and the Solid Axe are exactly the same. They have the same swing speed, they have the same DPS or damage per second. Now, the Guard's Katana is a two-hand, unlike the Barbarian Blade, which is a one-hand, both melee weapons, unlike the Guard's Bow, but the Guard's Katana is going to have a higher damage output with a slower swing the Barbarian Blade is going to have a faster swing, but a lower overall damage output. Now, I certainly prefer the one-handed, as I feel it's just more versatile. Now, the Guard's Bow is probably going to be the first thing you buy when you buy a weapon, as being able to kite mobs and get that range or that distance on them is going to be the most important thing when you consider the whole goal is not to die, right? So the Guard's Bow is going to be generally the first weapon that you're going to buy. Alrighty, so we are about to step into the adventure for the first time, and when we get in there, there's really one concept I want to talk about, and then I will basically play out the adventure so you guys can watch me do. I'll try and do a speed run here for you. What I wanted to talk about, though, is the kill per hour concept. That is all that really matters, right, is the kills per hour and maximizing professions. Now, because of this, if I wasn't doing a bounty, which we'll cover bounties in a further video, but they don't really need to be in the tutorial, I like to run Trail Woods because it gives me 3 professions to max, and I have my best kills per hour. Right, so yours may be chambers, yours may be arcane pits. Remember, and keep in mind, that you can get the same drops, blockchain weapons and so forth from Trail Woods as you can Mount Olkeps, as you can arcane pits. It does not matter which one you run. It only matters which one you run the most efficiently, which means, again, coming back to kills per hour. So for this adventure, I'm going to run Ashwoods, okay, but remember, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're maximizing your professions and your kills per hour, that is all that matters. So let's go ahead and hop in here, and we're going to cover one concept, which if you've played games like World of Warcraft or Diablo, any of these dungeon crawlers, you understand the concept of kiting. Okay, so kiting is where we grab some mobs and we run away, and we basically just keep coming out of their hitbox or out of their range of us, right? So basically they never get hit, or we never get hit. So you can run through a whole dungeon, and if you get really good at kiting, you are never going to get hit. Now, you'll notice in the adventure as I run it, I mainly only use my bow, right? I never actually swap to my melee weapon, and that's because the only thing I do is maximize kiting, learn the attack times, right, of the mobs. So eventually you're going to learn, is it 1 second, is it half a second? It kind of just like a muscle memory feeling of these mobs' attack rotation. And you'll notice one weird thing that I just did, and that is I didn't turn and fire. I actually turned and ran towards them. Now, that is the biggest thing that I learned, or the most helpful thing rather, when I first started, is that if I want to completely stand still and shoot, right? So you'll notice now, if I left click or right click, I'm just going to move. But, and let me actually set the microphone down here, if I wanted to stand still and shoot, and I hold the shift button, okay, and then click, I can left click to use my normal attack, or I can right click to use my heavy attack, which you'll notice that right click takes from this blue bar down here, which is my energy. Now, if I go below 0, or if I go below 0, if I go all the way down to 0 energy, I will refill naturally up to 200. I believe it's 200 or 250, and then I can go again. But one of the most helpful things I learned is if I want to stop running here, and I'm holding my left click, if I hit shift, okay, or I hold shift rather, I'm just going to start firing. And again, we talked about keybinds in the very beginning when we first started. Those keybinds you can change to anything. So right now I can left click, or for me I can press A for my light attack or S for my heavy attack. So it's a mixture that we'll see here when we really start getting into the adventure of kiting, and then knowing, kind of timing the attacks, like that spider. You kind of know it's going to stop X distance away from me. I'm going to take that snake because I was talking and didn't see it. You'll also learn, like, hey, it takes 1 left click to kill a snake versus, or 2 left clicks to kill a snake versus 1 left click to kill, a spider or a little mallow guy. So it's kind of learning the rotation between, how far you have, the distance you have, the timing of their strikes and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it and let you guys watch this adventure play out.